You know, girl.
They called it an impeachment inquiry. They said it would be bipartisan. It didn't start out that way. In fact, the only thing that was bipartisan was the vote to not go forward. But after 2 weeks and 17 witnesses, where the goal was to convince Republicans and the nation of the evidence of an impeachable offense, Adam Schiff and his gang of political malcontents failed miserably. Like last week, this week they proved nothing. Like last week, this week, every witness indicated they heard nothing from the president that would prove he committed an impeachable offense.
The word bribery or bribe doesn't appear anywhere in that. Ms. Williams, you've never used the word bribery or bribe to explain President Trump's conduct, correct?
No, sir.
Colonel Vindman, you haven't either.
That is correct.
I wanted to start with the July 25th call between President Trump and President Zelensky. Mr. Morrison, you were on that call, and there was no mention of withholding aid on the call, correct?
That is correct, Congresswoman.
And there was no quid pro quo, correct?
Correct.
No bribery?
Correct.
No extortion?
Correct.
Yet they are so dug in and determined to get rid of the 45th president that we elected, it appears their next step will be to draft articles of impeachment. It almost doesn't matter whether there is a crime. He simply has to go. Nancy Pelosi says he's an imposter.
I think part of it is his own insecurity as an imposter.
This woman is so scatterbrained that she can't figure out what the crime is. Quid pro quo, bribery, extortion. To the latest, now he is using the office for his own personal gain. But Nancy, impeachment requires a specific high crime misdemeanor bribery extortion. You can't get rid of a president because you don't like him or because you know you simply cannot defeat him. So what did the Democrats prove? In their charade, the part not in the bowels of Congress, we heard from individuals who, for the most part, would never be allowed in a courtroom because their testimony is based on hearsay for which there is no legitimate legal exception. So dream on, Congressman Mike Quigley. We heard from individuals, mostly career diplomats, deep staters, some of whom were not even present or working in the administration at the time of the alleged wrongdoing. We heard about their families, their heritage, how they felt about their job, the president, what they heard, what they presumed, what they assumed, surmised, and certainly did not hear. Some were haughty, conceited, self-impressed, and demanding of respect.
Member, it's Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
And don't forget, I'm a judge. Just wanted to remind you. But if you see me on the street, you don't have to call me Your Honor. And then there was David Sherlock Holmes, whose detection skills are so sharp he can recite verbatim from the other side of a table during a phone call he wasn't even on.
You said that you were able to hear President Trump's voice through the receiver. How were you able to hear if it was not on speakerphone?
Ambassador Sondland also said yesterday he often speaks very loudly over the phone, and I certainly experienced that. When the president came on, he sort of winced and held the phone away from his ear like this. And he did that for the first couple exchanges, but that's how I was able to hear it.
And for those of you who think EU Ambassador Sondland proved otherwise, consider this. Everything he said was contradicted by the facts. The aid was delivered. There was no meeting, no call, no announcement of an investigation, no quid pro quo, the first time Ukraine had ever received lethal aid. His testimony is not only canceled by the facts, but by his demeanor, his arrogance, and his inappropriate smirking, making it clear that he, like many deep state bureaucrats, is not a fan of the president. And keep in mind that it was the Democrats who coordinated with the whistleblower. It was the Democrats who started the inquiry without a vote. It was the Democrats who hid their witnesses in the bowels of the Capitol. The Democrats who refused to allow the minority to present a case, who cut off cross-examination of their witnesses when the answer would not be beneficial to the Democrats. And it was the Democrats who had as their lead prosecutor, judge, and jury a man known for lying repeatedly on a partisan basis, who cares not about truth and justice, but about influence and raw power. So there you have it. A president concerned about where our precious American dollars are going, and making sure at the same time he gets to the bottom of the Russia collusion delusion that tore this country apart for 3 years. But then again, it's not over. I hope Republicans, if it gets to this point, have a trial in the Senate, and the first witness called is Hunter Biden, to show why there was such a concern about corruption in the Ukraine by his father. I'd like to know exactly how much he made a month from his no-show job. And then Joe Biden, I'd like him to swear under oath whether his demand to have a prosecutor fired was a quid pro quo to take the law enforcement off his son. I want Adam Schiff under oath. Did he lie when he said he didn't know who the whistleblower was? Did he create a narrative? And Alexandra Chalupa, a former DNC operative, who allegedly worked with Ukrainian officials to collect dirt on the Trump campaign, which she provided to Hillary and the DNC. And of course, we have to hear from the whistleblower, the one Adam Schiff claims he now doesn't know, to find out how much of this was pre-planned. You know, polls show the American public is tiring of this charade. Like the Russia collusion delusion, it is hurting our country, as the Democrat haters will do anything they can to destroy the president, when in reality, they are tearing apart this country. The Inspector General's report is due on December 9th, and that, along with a trial in the Senate, will cause the Democrats to be hoisted on their own petard, which will be well-earned. And that's my open. Let me know what you think on my Facebook, Twitter, #Judge Jeanine.
'Cause I'm an albatross, yeah.